Recording in progress.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We'll be starting in about 3 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. We're hoping for sunshine across our state. With all the rain that we have been receiving, it will be nice to have a warm day. We have a simple agenda, and it should be up on the screen as we're being shared at this point. Let's go ahead and discuss the reflection that we have from last week. It was very, very busy, and want to make sure that there's any questions that anyone might have of the Office of Public Instruction during our legislative discussion. They gave us a couple pieces of homework that we are working on. Good to see McCall here discussing one of the proposals is asking that the licensing fee goes to the Office of Public Instruction to support the maintenance and any professional development that would occur through the licensing system, but also making sure that the Board of Public Ed is remaining whole, and that the infusion of the licensing fee, as we know that it's variable during the year when individuals either recertify or for brand new ones, that there's more consistency given to the Board of Public Ed in their work products and what they're doing. We also know we had individuals at MASBO in Butte with our clerks, and a great discussion also has been around Esser dollars, making sure that we've got everything that we are required by the federal government to be able to be submitted through the data collection. That is something brand new for all of us across the United States, but more importantly, it's very different, a new data collection for our schools. So I'm going to move into that. If there's any other questions or additions to anything that was learned of last week, either through the MASBO conference or the legislative meetings, anyone would like to share? Great. I think I have got Wendy on. Wendy, if you want to give us a little update about EANS.
So on EANS, what we're going to be doing this coming week is doing a webinar for updating those who came through on the ARP EANS side of the grant, and that'll be Wednesday. So we have the link that's available and just kind of bringing that group into the process. So that should go very well. Moving into the Esser updates, we have several things that are going on right now. We have the Summer Enrichment Grant, which went out and closed, and we have some very strong applicants. That was again focused on math. So we're sort of finishing that whole process up, but it looks like it's a good group of both school districts and nonprofits that applied for that and are going to receive that grant. On the after school Esser grant that went out last spring, early in the spring, those are going to be looking at data collection. That's going to be coming up in August. So we're looking at doing the data collection for what has been done with the after school for last year, and then looking forward to what will be done this coming year. Currently we're doing a large reach out with regards to safe return plans and the LEA ARP plan. So we've been making some phone calls and connecting points to districts to just kind of loop around the requirement of having those updated and reviewed June. So we're in that process. And just to tag on to what the superintendent had mentioned with regards to the MASBO conference in Butte, it went really well. Really nice for me to be able to put a face to some of the people that we've sort of emailed back and forth on. And we were able to introduce our new Esser director or Esser manager, who's going to be coming on board beginning July 1st. That'll be Rebecca Brown. So it was nice for her to meet everyone as well. Monday, we had a really good presentation by Dr. Rosa with regards to effective methods on budgeting. So looking at cost drivers, exploring the trade-offs of different options, and looking at strategically advocating the use of various resources. It was an amazing workshop with her, and hoping that those will continue as we go forward, and we'll have continued participation on that. I know that there had been a request with regards to a timeline for Esser, and so we're looking at putting that together going forward in a 6-month platform. One of the major things we'll be looking at is the system of support and kind of providing a web system that allows both in-person phone calls, emails, but also sort of timed short snippets, 10-minute type snippets of themed topics. So we'll have those available on our website for review as we go forward. There are a variety of different activities that we're going to be able to promote out, and welcome any comments, both with regards to needs that any of you may have. Thinking about that support going forward. We're kind of looking at what have we done in the past, what worked well, and then making some changes and modifications as we go forward. So don't hesitate to reach out and sort of indicate, we'd love to see this, whether it's a handout, a webinar, whatever your suggestions are, we really welcome those going forward.
Thank you, Wendy. Any questions for Wendy, either on the Ians? I see I've got Steve White here. Hopefully things are working well in that non-public sector, or any other questions that there might be for Esser 1, 2, or 3. I know the legislature is very interested in understanding not just the manner of the expenditures, but also how this is going to enable a longer term view of what it looks like as they put forward general fund dollars. One of the things I would like to share is just the timeline. We need to be really, really mindful of this. Esser 1 is to be completed by the end of September. And I believe that we've got about 6 million that still has not been expended yet of almost the 41 million. And there's very few days left within that. As then I want to share that we're about 15 months out from making sure that Esser 2 is all the way expended as well, and being very, very mindful that that 347 million also is being drawn down from schools. It's all been allocated. It's just a matter of getting it expended. Would love to have your help in making sure that we don't return the dollars to the Fed. That is the only avenue that I have. I do not have a way that I can reallocate it or give it back to the governor. I must give it back at this point to the federal government. We have made many inquiries to say if there's going to be another year an extension of any of these grants, to make sure that there may be more time given in the expenditures. Any questions you might have?
Superintendent, this is Steve White, and I'd like to thank you and Wendy for keeping me posted as to what's going on, and I've been passing it on to home educators across the state.
Excellent. Good to hear your voice, Steve.
Thank you.
Wendy, pat yourself on the back. That's a good thing. It's good to get kudos. Thank you very much. We're here. It's on our website. If you right underneath on our front page, on to the left, there is our Esser button. The compass is coming out. It'll happen on this Friday. So more information on Esser will be there as well. Thanks, Wendy. Let's go ahead and move on then. Dr. Mergel is going to be taking this one. I think in our previous one, we had sent out that it would be Ashley, who's our Director of Assessment. Really exciting news. We've got our mast here. And Brian, if you want to go ahead, and Dr. Mergel, if you'd lead us through.
Thank you. Good morning, Superintendent, and good morning to all of our education advocates. It's good to see each and every one of you. So, Brian, if you can go ahead to the next slide, we'd like to bring you up mass pilot testing program that we're doing for a through-year model. So kind of talk about what that is, but right now we're engaged actually over at the DoubleTree downtown, where our folks are working to develop a theory of force for our assessment. So that's why Ashley is not with us today. But we are launching our pilot this fall. We're going to be working with grades 5th and 7th in ELA and math. And so what we mean by a through course summative assessment is that we take basically the components of the end of year summative assessment and kind of spread that out through the school year and really align that with the curriculum that's happening in the classroom at the moment in time and giving that feedback. And so those smaller unit of assessments then add up to the summative assessment is at the end. The purpose for it is to really try to ensure that assessment data is getting back to the teachers in real time that they can use in their classroom and make that data really meaningful, while at the same time being able to report what we traditionally report for the summative assessment results for accountability purposes. And so it is really not adding more assessments. It's actually trying to take that one big assessment that's at the end and spreading it out into smaller pieces throughout the school year so that it's more relevant to the instruction that's happening in the classroom in real time. So we're going to be piloting that with New Meridian this fall for, again, grades 5 and 7. Then we'll expand that test in grades 4 and 6 the following year in the 24 school year. And then in the 24-25 school year, we'll add on grades 3 and 8. And so we'll be building that out so that we can get all the way to be able to submit revisions to our accountability system to the department to be able to use this kind of form of assessment rather than the current model with the summative assessment. And we'll be looking to be measuring growth as well, and that the full system will be operationalized in 25-26 school year. Next slide, please, Brian. So just a little bit more, here's a good visual that Ashley's put together that really kind of gives that idea of what this through year assessment looks like. It is aligned to the state standards, and it provides the information about those grade level standards comparable to the state summative. We call it testlets, and these testlets are smaller exams that are kind of made up of 8 to 12 different items to measure a particular standard for that grade level at that time. There's some really good, strong advancements in the use of technology when we start to talk about assessments where it's kind of working with the student in real time and assessing that level of rigor as they go on. So it's responding in real time with them to where they are with their learning to really get a good sense of what their proficiency is. And so it's configurable. Also, you guys, these testlets are, and they're flexible, line to a local scope and sequence, which I think is really powerful. That's one piece that I feel like the summative assessment just is one big thing that comes at the very end and is not aligned to the learning that the students are doing at that time. So I think that's another really powerful piece about this through those testlets. And so it's really going to be able to get even a little bit more information, if you will, about how those summative scores generally are reported out. So we'll be able to see that. So you can kind of see, here's an example of what that looks like. They'll have different sessions. There's writing tasks in there, some performance tasks. And so it's kind of spread out through the year rather than in one big thing at the very end. Next slide, please, Brian. So like I had mentioned, Ashley is over working with a group of folks on, and they're working to really work with our folks out in the field, our stakeholders. We have a great group of people representing superintendents to teachers and legislators. So we've got a wonderful group of folks there. The Center of Assessment is helping us with that. Through this process and saying, what is our theory about assessment? What do we really want for assessment? So as we're really kind of starting to lay out a pilot and really begin to innovate in this world of assessment, what are we saying are the conditions that need to be met? How's that process going? And what do we really want to get as the outcome from this piece? So they're really designing that theory of action to say, we believe if we do this, then will be the result. So this is the dates and times that group is working. And so we're really hoping to have that that finalized and be able to share out what that group is up with as we move forward. Next slide, please. I think it's really important to stress that as we're moving through a pilot, we still have to meet the requirements of ESSA. And so we must continue to do the summative at this time until we can demonstrate to the department that we are able to use these other testlets in that place. So we have to maintain our current test delivery with our current contracts. We do have through New Meridian, they are doing some interviews with folks out there to kind of say, well, as we get designing this testlet system, you know, that we get information from our users, from our teachers about what that really looks like and what that really means. So they're kind of out there doing those surveys right now. And so we've got folks that are participating in this in multiple different ways. Next. New Meridian is going to implement this, like I said, in the fall. We do have an item writing workshop. We are looking for pilot districts who do want to coming school year. We did have folks who indicated they wanted to participate in a mass pilot, the school districts previously, but we certainly do want to expand that to any and all schools who do want to participate this school year with the 5th and 7th grade math and ELA in these testlets. Also gathering names for teachers for 5th and 7th grade to help draft item writing. And so if you do have any 5th or 7th grade teachers you'd like to recommend and like us to reach out to them today or tomorrow, we're happy to do so. And certainly districts, please encourage this. Exciting. I just have to say, I feel like Montana's leading the way a lot in terms of innovating in assessment. And that's really exciting because a lot of times we end up having to adopt, if you will, things that have been designed for other systems and other areas and not necessarily for a rural, local piece. So we're really encouraging our school districts to join in this as we lead the way in assessment and start to really be sure that it's working for our students and our teachers and our families. So please reach out to us if you have any questions about that. We're happy to up and help be sure you have all the information for that. Next slide, let's see here. And so you guys, like I said, I feel like we're really starting to build some strong partnerships as we go through innovating in assessment. These are the many multiple partners that we've been working with throughout the school year as we've been engaging in this process. We're very thrilled and excited to put forward a grant proposal to the Department of Education for this innovation assessment, and so we hope that to obtain that in September and know that we're in a good running. And, but regardless, we're going to move forward with assessment innovation. It would just be nice to have a little extra to go a little bit further and deeper. So that's all the information that I have for you for assessment, but please feel to reach out to myself if you do want to be a pilot school or you do have some item writers that you would like to participate in July as we design these testlets. We're happy to connect you and provide you that information. I'm going to check the chat. Thanks, Superintendent.
Thank you. And Julie, there are some things in the chat. There are some questions on who is participating now, and then they would like a list of those. And then they would also like to have contact information. And just to remind everybody, at the conclusion of this, we send out all the information that you've seen. So this PowerPoint as well, anything that Wendy has devised between Ian's and Esser, anything that we have on the chapter progress will also go out after this, and contact information will also be there. So we can get those list of individuals that are participating this week, as well as a contact through Dr. Mergel's office. And there she did. She just put it up into it if you would like to have anybody who would like to write any of those test questions or learn more about what we are doing within the assessment updates that we're doing. Perfect. Any other questions you might have for Dr. Mergel? Well, Julie, looks like we get to hear from you again. This is about the chapter progress with chapter 55. If you could, please.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brian, can I please share my screen really quick? Let's see.
So Craig, I just got a note here. Mr. Mueller, I've got a thing here that Ms. Flores is her last day in your district is today. So give her a big hug and a shout out. And then taking over those roles, will it be you? Will it be someone else? But I want to give a big shout out to you and your leadership, as well as to Ms. Flores about what she's been working on and what she's been doing within the district. So we hear all kinds of things at the state level, and it's so important that we pass on a positive. So wish her all the best. Thanks, Craig.
I will. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you, Superintendent. So Chapter 55, Accreditation Standards. The Negotiated Rulemaking Committee has been busy building consensus and adopting rules from the superintendent's recommendation. So in that set of rules, there's a total of 58 current rules on the books in Chapter 55. There is 5 new proposed rules from the superintendent, so it makes a total of 63. Of those 60, no recommended changes for those, and the negotiated rulemaking committee has reached consensus on 58 of the individual rules. So we are continuing to work to achieve consensus on those. The next set of meetings I'm here. We do have a meeting this week on Thursday, a virtual meeting from 1 to 3 o'clock. We have another one on June 28th from 1 to 3 again, which will be hosted virtual. And then we will be hosting an in-person meeting on June 30th, all day here in Helena. I'm in Bozeman, in Helena, for the negotiated rulemaking committee. You can always go to our webpage to find out more information about who are the committee members, the meetings, the agendas, the recordings from the meetings. We just met Thursday and Friday, where we reached consensus on 30 of these individual rules. And so we have a broad range of folks from across the state. You can see here on our map, and we are moving forward as we kind of put that process through. And so put out yesterday. So hopefully all of you have received this, and I hope that you can really help us get the word out. We would like as many stakeholders to participate in the economic impact survey as possible. So we opened it yesterday. This is part of a requirement for the negotiated rules for accreditation. And so as we started this process back in September of 2020, we've been doing research up and through December, and then we launched a task force, and then we launched the negotiated rulemaking committee. And part of the responsibility of the committee is that they develop an economic impact statement. And in order to do that economic impact statement, we've put out an economic impact survey to determine if there is significant economic impact by any of these particular rules. The rulemaking committee did develop in consultation with the superintendent that these are the ones that they want to know more information about, that they think may or may not potentially have an economic impact. And so this survey covers 603, which is about expanding multiple measures and district assessments. We have a piece on 712 for providing flexibility for school districts to determine the resources needed for when class sizes are overloaded. We've got a piece on there about updating the professional to enhancing the mentorship and induction, including a survey tool to measure perceptions of school climate, down to for learner access about technology for each student, adding an English language learner component similar to special ed and gifted that is aligned with what are already current federal expectations, including civics, governance, economic, and financial literacy as a part of the established high school offerings and graduation requirements. It's not in addition to, it's within. And then the last, to federal accessibility standards for facilities. So these were the ones the committee wanted to find out more information as to whether our stakeholders believe there would be a significant financial impact. So we're asking folks to please complete this survey and have it completed by Wednesday, July 5th. This information together to develop the economic statement that must go from the committee to the Board of Public Ed. I will drop this link in the chat as well, but we do ask each and every one of you to complete the survey. And if you could also share it out with at least your constituents and the folks that you have contact with, we would value as much information as we can from our stakeholders about this. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We'll be presenting in the board meeting in July, the superintendent's recommendations on these chapters, and we'll have the economic statement ready for them as well. I stand for any questions that anyone might have, but just as a personal plea to all of you, please get this link out to as many folks as possible. We appreciate that very much. Thanks, Superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Merkel. Any questions you might have of Dr. Merkel, the process that we have engaged? Looks like McCall's got her hand up. Hey, McCall.
I just wanted to actually make a clarification. Julie had said that you guys were going to present this in July. If you remember, the board scheduled a special meeting in August to do this, given the timeline for the negotiated rulemaking committee. So the presentation actually will not be until August. It is not currently on our agenda for July.
Thanks, McCall.
Thank you, McCall. We will still have it ready though. So I do believe you have an agenda for the July meeting that will go live either the 7th or the 8th. It is our understanding that we're going to be finishing our work and then we'll be giving it to the board for any of their purview, that questions that they might have. The longer that you hold it, then the more information that you can seek through your members. Because I do believe the negotiating rulemaking committee will have their work completed. So our job is to get it to you so that you can do your due diligence and seek any other further clarifications of what there might be with any of the changes. So, and I think we're all prepared. All of the information of the survey will be coming to you if you haven't received it yet. You'll be receiving it at the conclusion of this discussion today with any of the other materials that we have given you at this point. Any other discussion points regarding the chapter or anything else that you may want to bring to the table? Looks like we had a good group today. Want to be very mindful that there's a lot of discussion at this point with many things, mental health being one of them. I have been working with the Department of Health and Human Services on a universal screening tool that would be available for school districts. We are hoping that we will have something to deploy this fall. Another discussion that has come up that is, how I want to say, in a partnership with other departments, with DEQ, Department of Ecological, I've got a brain snafu. So with lead in the water, let me put it this way, as well as with Department of Health and Human Services. There is money at the state level that is given by the federal to be able to test lead in schools. And these are school buildings, not in school districts. So specific to faucets, as well as to anything where there is drinking water or anything that is used by students or staff. There are a lot of schools that have not tested as of yet. So we're working in partnership with with DEQ as well as with DPHHS, to make sure that we have a concerted effort on having districts test. The testing is free. The remediation of it, though, could be expensive, from just changing a faucet out or to do some underground piping, which is very expensive. So we were hoping that the federal government, through the EPA in February, would give us dollars through DEQ for that remediation and mitigation. That has not happened yet. We do know that the Esser dollars are available, and we're very pleased that some districts across our state are using those Esser COVID relief dollars in able to remediate any lead that might be for drinking fountains or anything within kitchen use for students or for staff. But we still have a long way to go yet. So I'm asking you and your organizations to put the word out, to see, to get on DEQ's website. They're the ones that are holding this at this point, to be able to test to see if there's anything in their water systems at this point. Testing, again, is free. Those are the two things that I would like to share that we're working on here in a partnership with greater government at the Capitol Complex. Anyone else have anything else to say? Well, let's hope for sunshine across our big sky country. Let's enjoy the summer. It is first day of summer today, so let's rejoice in what we're going to be having. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to myself personally or to anyone who presented today. Wish you all the best and blessings to you. Thank you.